My name is Fido and welcome to the Pantheon, where today Innistrad is on the menu. And what have we got? Well, it's quite the dish. It's Dennick, Pious Apprentice. 2 mana for a 2/3 human soldier with lifelink. Cards in graveyards can't be the targets of spells or ability. So a nice little hate piece there, against reanimated decks. This is going to really hurt them. And, comes down early, 2 mana. But then there's a disturbing turn of events. Well, Dennick dies. But if he's in your graveyard, you can cast this graveyard card from your graveyard, transformed for its disturb cost, which is 4 mana. And the cool thing is, if this is in your command zone, yeah, okay, you have to pay the command tax if it dies. But if it goes to our graveyard and we disturb it back, the disturb cost is always going to be the same. But what disturbs him is that he becomes a pious apparition. He's a spirit soldier, so he's a soldier on both sides. He's got flying, and whenever one or more creatures are put into graveyards from anywhere, investigate. So you get a clue token that you can sack to draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Now that really does suck. And if it would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it. Okay, Dennick, I like what you're doing here. Lots and lots of text, lots of interesting things. But I think it's a really cool build around. The graveyard hate, always nice, And then he comes back from the graveyard himself and you can draw a couple of cards and a bit of an artifact synergy to go with it. But please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Before we get into it, I'm going to make one of these for every single legendary creature. So come along on the journey with me. And now let's have a look at my top 5 for Dennick. In at number 5, we've got... Ooh, what have we got? It's strategic planning, ways to fill the graveyard. And this is a sort of a card draw focused thing, because blue obviously draws cards, and having cards in hand is absolutely fantastic. But on the backside of Dennick, the ability to sort of mill yourself and, maybe other people is great because we get those clue tokens as well. And then we fill up the graveyard for other things. So strategic plan is a sorcery. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. So if you put a creature in with this, well, we're going to get a clue token from the spirit version of Dennick. And, this is just a good card. You always want card draw. So having this sort of blue card draw is incredible. Then a symmetrical version is Dakra Mystic. 1 blue for a 1/1 Merfolk Wizard. Pay a blue and tap her. Each player reveals the top card of his or her library. You will put the real cards into their owner's graveyards. If you don't, each player draws a card. So that's really nice. It's going to keep the card advantage going. Yes, you might give some cards to your opponents, but you can just use this as a miller. You reveal all the cards. Okay, couple of creatures, mill them. I get a clue token. I get the draw. And that is just wonderful. Also, I love the artwork. Her holding the two clams. And, black and white. Bloody good. Then there's Consider. Brand new card. 1 blue for an instant. Look at the top card of your library. You put that card into your graveyard. Draw a card. So it surveils and then you draw a card. So just a really nice filler card, gets you through your deck and can also put a creature into the graveyard so we get a clue token, sack it, and then there's Curate. 2 mana for an instant. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put any number of them into your graveyard and the rest back on the top of your library in any order. Draw a card. So, these are all just good sort of card advantage engines and a nice instance that we can play whenever we want. Which brings me on to number 4. And at number 4, well, we've got a lot of artifacts flying around thanks to, all of the sort of things. And all of our mana rocks, because we're in blue and white, we don't have the access to the green ramp. It's going to be artifact based. So these cards all interact really coolly with artifacts. And Chrome Scale Drake is a 9 mana 3/4. But it has affinity for artifacts. So each artifact you control reduces its cost by generic 1. So all those clue tokens are going to make this cost just triple blue. Then it has flying, and when it comes into play, reveal the top 3 cards of your library. Put all artifact cards revealed this way into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. So this is great if you're skewing really into an artifact deck. Maybe you're going for equipment style or just a big affinity sort of style deck. And the great thing is, if you don't hit, or you don't hit artifacts, if it's just creatures, you put them into your graveyard and then you get a clue token, reducing everything, draw some more cards. There's so many cool ways to take it, and this is a great card to use. Then, with all of those clue tokens, Clock of Omens is phenomenal with any of our mana rocks. 4 mana for an artifact. Tap 2 untapped artifacts you control. Untap target artifacts. So all of the clue tokens, its only cost to sacrifice is pay 2 mana. So if we've got something that taps for 3, we can tap that, tap 2 of our clues to untap it, tap, and then sack all the clues that we've used to tap it. Just a great use of the clue tokens. Then there's Rise and Shine. 2 mana for a sorcery. Target non-creature artifact you control becomes a 0/0 artifact creature. Put 4 1/1 counters on each artifact that has become a creature this way. And you can overload it. So when you cast it for its overload cost, change its word from target to each. So if we built up a massive board of all of our clue tokens, well, we can just make even more 4/4s, you know, absolutely massive army of clues. Then if someone goes to board wipe, you've attacked him with them, use all your mana to sacrifice them before the board wipe happens, draw a ton of cards. A great, great finisher for the deck. Then there's Broodstar. 10 mana for a star with affinity for artifacts, so potentially costing just double blue. And it's flying, and its power and toughness are each equal to the number of artifacts you control. So this could just be a game-ending threat. Absolutely massive flyer. Lovely. Then Chrome Courier, a brand new card from Modern Horizons 2, I believe. 3 mana for a 1/1 flying. When it enters the battlefield, reveal the top 2 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the other into your graveyard. If you put an artifact card into your hand this way, you gain 3 life. So very good at leaning into the artifact sort of centered deck. And it's an enter the battlefield effect. And Dennick is actually really, really cool with sort of flicker effects, because if you've got him on his other side, you know, his spirit side, if you flicker it, it comes back as the original side. It doesn't go to exile and, you know, we lose it forever. It's awesome. It's really, really cool. Then we've got Emery Lurker of the Lock. 3 mana for a 1/2. The spell costs 1 less for each artifact you control, so potentially just 1 blue mana. When it enters the battlefield, put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard. So if you reveal a creature from that, well, we're going to get a clue token from Dennick, the spirited version. And then tap, choose target artifact card from a graveyard. You may cast this card this turn. Amazing, just rebuys whatever we want. Finally, we've got Glacier Power Stone Engineer, 6 mana, 3/6. Not the best of stats to cost ratio, but tap and tap X untapped artifacts you control. So all of our clues work fantastically for that. Look at the top X cards of your library. Put one of those cards into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. So again, it'll trigger, get us another token. Really, really great card for the deck. Which brings me on to number 3. And as I mentioned before, Dennick on both sides is a soldier. So why don't we take that into sort of a soldier tribal sort of direction? 3 mana for a field marshal, 2/2. Other soldier creature you control get +1/+1 and have first strike. So a flying 4/3 on his spirit side, just a 2/3, 2/4. Sorry, math's hard. 2/4 on his irregular side with lifelink and first strike, which is a really nice combination. Then there's Bastion Protector, 3 mana for a 3/3 human soldier. Commander creatures you control get +2/+2 and have indestructible. So Dennick is going to be massive, and any board wipes or spot removal that is in exile isn't going to deal with them. This is a great card to include, you know. And you could take Dennick down a very sort of aggressive, you know, command damage sort of route. Then a great soldier, I love this card, Intrepid Hero. 3 mana for a human soldier. Tap to destroy a target creature with power 4 or greater. So that could help trigger our spirit version of Dennick's ability. You know, just destroy a creature, get a clue token. Then there's Knight Captain of Eos. 5 mana for a 2/2. When it comes into play, put 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens into play. And you can pay white, sacrifice a soldier, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. And so, because Dennick is so sticky, we could actually use him as a sacrifice, you know, fodder, because we can always bring him back for 4 mana from the graveyard. And that's the better half, in my opinion. So this is a really cool use of Dennick's soldier sort of class identity. Then we've got Preeminent Captain. 3 mana for a 2/2 with first strike. Whenever it attacks, you may put a soldier creature card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. So if Dennick somehow ends up in your hand, you've been Cyclonic Rifted, this can and drop him down. You know, just although you could just, you know, cast him for 2 mana, which is probably... Anyway, then there's Auriok Steel Shaper. 2 mana for a 1/1 human soldier. Quick cost you pay costs 1 less. Could that be hinting to the next section I'm going to talk about? As long as it is equipped, soldiers and knights you control get +1/+1. So equip this, then our Dennick gets bigger. Or maybe we could equip Dennick with other stuff. Finally, we got Daru Warchief. Look at that beastie thing. He's just raw. 4 mana for a 1/1. Soldier spells you cost 1 less to cast. So Dennick's going to cost less. Woo! 3 mana from the graveyard. And soldiers you control get +1/+2. So a nice little buff to his power and toughness there. Which brings me on to number 2. And speaking of buffing power and toughness, let's equip our commander with something and just kill our opponent. Boneheart is phenomenal in the deck. 4 mana for the equipment. It's got living weapon, so it comes in equipped to a 0/0. Crit creature gets +X/+X, where X is the number of creature cards in all graveyards. So if you go down sort of the heavy mill sort of strategy, this could end up being absolutely massive. And if we've kept Dennick on the first side, it's not that big of an issue to mill all of our opponents because they can't target any of the creatures. They can't reanimate anything or, do anything like that. So this is going to be massive. We slip it onto Dennick, swing in for tons of damage and potentially just outright kill someone. Amazing, amazing card. Similarly, we got Nettle Cyst. 3 mana for an equipment. It's got living weapon again. Quick creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact and each enchantment you control. So all of those clue tokens we're planning on making, well, this will make Dennick enormous. Absolutely brilliant. Then there's Hand of Vecna. Big old hand. 3 mana equipment. At the beginning of combat on your turn, a quick creature or a creature you control named Vecna gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. And you can equip it for 2 or equip it for pay 1 life for each card in your hand. So thanks to, being a blue deck, we should have quite a lot of cards in our hand. So this could potentially give +7/+7, +8/+8. And, the equip, while it does, cost quite a lot of life, it's not that bad, really, if you're going to be killing your opponents. Then, because Dennick, I talked about flickering earlier, he could be coming in. He's coming in from the graveyard, casting from the command zone. He's going to be entering the battlefield a lot. Hero's Blade is amazing. 2 mana for an equip 4. However, whenever a legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach Hero's Blade to it. And it gives +3/+2. So if Dennick's in our graveyard, we cast him as his spirit, then it's going to be a 6 power spirit, which is pretty meaty in my opinion. Man, very impressive pectoral muscles. Then, while we're buffing him, why don't we use Bestow? Because if we're milling ourselves, these count? Who's clounting? Anyway, these count as creatures in our library. So if we mill them or, discard them to something, this is going to get us a clue token from Dennick. But we can use this to buff Dennick as well. 3 mana for Eidolon of Countless Battles. Spirit, Bestow for 4 mana, so you can put it onto it as an aura. And then if the creature dies, it comes onto the field as a creature. Eidolon of Countless Battles and enchanted creature. Each get +1/+1 for each creature you control and +1/+1 for each aura you control. So this isn't going to be that impressive. We're not a massive go wide token strategy, but it's a great little buff for 4 mana that, counts as a creature if we mill it. Then there's Ghostblade Eidolon. 3 mana for a 1/1, Bestow for 6, pretty weighty. But it's got double strike, and so we can get Dennick double strike, really get in there, kill someone with a massive damage. And it gets +1/+1 and double strike to Dennick. Really, really cool creature to have. Then a big Nautilus, whatever a Nautilus is. And it's Crystalline. 3 mana for a 4/4 with Bestow for 5. When it becomes the target of a spell or ability, sacrifice it. Enchanted creature gets +4/+4, and when this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, sacrifice it. So this is actually, it's a big buff. +4/+4 is really good, but make sure you've equipped everything else to him, because if you try and equip it, equipping targets, it'll just kill your own commander, which is not exactly what I'm in for. But that brings me on to number 1. And as I said, he's quite a sticky man, is Dennick. But he's always going to be on the field. And because of that, why don't we take advantage of it with things like Loyal Drake and Josh? 3 mana for a 2/2 with flying. Lieutenant, at the beginning of combat on your turn. If you control your commander, draw a card. This is just a nice little card draw engine, and because it's a flying evasive threat, all these equipments we've got, we could slide them onto this, and this could potentially deal some lethal damage to our opponents. Really, really nice card for the deck. And just having your commander on the field all the time, because he costs a little amount of mana. We're going to be casting him from our graveyard and then maybe bouncing him, paying 2 mana again. It's always going to be there. So Flawless Maneuver is a great card to have in the deck. 3 mana for an instant if you control a commander when you cast this spell. You cast it without paying its mana cost, so it's just free. Creature control gained indestructible until end of turn. Now that is really powerful, you know, if our opponents are trying to board wipe, but blue-white has an excellent board wipe. Supreme Verdict, God of Will. Wrath of God, that's not, what else? God of Will, it's like Force of Will, but you exile a card and lose 1 life. So, but if we're wanting to board wipe and, you know, we keep our commander and all our creatures alive for free, we can then swing in with our commander and possibly kill someone in the aftermath. Then people are going to try and kill our commander. So Fierce Guardianship says no. 3 mana for an instant. If you control a commander, you cast it for free. And counter target non-creature spell. So, you know, any sort of removal, any sort of game-winning spell. Someone's trying to expropriate, no, for free. You can just leave no mana up. Unfortunately, a very expensive card, but just proxy it, who really cares? And then a rather weak one here, Loyal Unicorn. 4 mana for a 3/4 with Vigilance. It's a unicorn, great piece of artwork. And Lieutenant, at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, prevent all combat damage that will be dealt to creatures you control this turn. Other creatures you control gain Vigilance until end of turn. So I say it's pretty weak, but it's nice to have on a very aggressive commander. And we want to... Sorry about that. We want to be swinging in with our commander over and over again. And this allows us to do it for free. And we're always going to have our commander knocking about. And who doesn't like a unicorn? And those are my top 5 cards for Dennick. I really like this card. Although I have to say, I hate the promo artwork or the, you know, the black and white artwork. I think it's disgusting. Which makes me so sad because I really like the card and I want to build it as a commander. But the promo just looks dreadful. I hate it. I hate it with a raging passion. But, you know, everyone's got terrible opinions, haven't they? Thanks for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed this and it's helped you. If it has, please like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you soon. Bye.